This is the Honda E. Yes, it's finally here and we get to drive it today, which I'm very excited about. It's a car that's very dear to our hearts here at Drive Tribe because when Honda announced that they're taking it into production, largely unchanged from the concept car, it broke our website. That's how much people cared. But in all the hubbub over its looks, what you might have missed is actually the first rear-wheel drive Honda since the fabled S2000. But yes, instead of having a high-revving petrol engine under the bonnet, it's got an electric motor powering the rear wheels. So will that make it less fun? We'll find out. But most importantly, is it a cool Honda? Because let's be honest, Honda makes some cars which are quite high up the fun end of the spectrum, like the NSX and the Civic Type R, and they make some cars which, they're more down here. So, is it cool, or is it a bit more like your Grand's Jazz? Let's find out. The reason this thing took our website down is because people were losing their minds over how good it looks. It's so clean, it's like Apple designed a car. There are barely any lines on it. There's this, and that's about it. Even the door handles have been tucked away, and the door mirrors have been replaced with these cameras which show on screens inside. There's just nothing else like it, is there? It's like a spaceship from the future. At the back you've got these twin circular lights which could be straight out of a Japanese sci-fi comic book. It just looks awesome. This is properly Honda bringing their A game to the design party. Sure, Honda's changed a few things since the concept car, it's got taller, but that means I can fit in it, which I'm going to do now. So, what is the Honda E like to drive? Well, it's quite fast. Whee! This is the top spec 154 horsepower Honda E Advance. That's a 113 kilowatt battery. And then there's a lower spec 135 horsepower version, which is 100 kilowatts. This one will do 0 to 60 in 8.3 seconds and go on to 90 miles an hour, blah, blah, blah. It feels quite fast. It's an electric car, of course, so you get instant torque from down low, and it's central rear wheels, so it launches quite well. It isn't as fast as something like a Tesla, obviously, but this is an affordable city car. It's going to cost about £28,000 this top spec one in the UK, which I think is pretty reasonable for a cutting edge electric car with cameras for mirrors. Honda's designed the cameras in the door mirrors to have a special coating so that water droplets won't sit on them, and even though it is chucking it down, I've got a very clear view down here, and it's bonging at me to tell me that I'm about to die. It feels pretty planted through the bends. It's fairly benign. Your mum could drive this and not die, even in this horrible weather. It does have a lot of torque, and that torque is being sent to the rear wheels, and it's got a lot of steering lock because there's no engine between the front wheels. So it's basically a drift car, except not. What it is, though, is the mother of all city cars, and if you ever get one of these as a rental car on your holidays, you'll be laughing. I do have a slight problem with this, and that's the fact it's called the Honda E. I mean, when a manufacturer is going to stop using the letter E to denote that it's an electric car, when all cars are electric, they're not going to be calling them the Honda E then. We don't call it the Civic Type R P because it runs on petrol, do we? No, it's nonsense, and it's got to stop soon. It's actually quite fun to drive on a twisty road as well. Wasn't expecting that. Obviously it's at home in the city, but Honda's made a lot of its driving dynamics, and it feels very alert and up on its toes, and it responds quickly. So, can you be a yob in it? Let's find out safely. Sport mode activated. You can turn the stability control off, or at least slacken it. Whee! You can sort of get it sideways out of wet junctions. Yes. Can you drift it? No. You shouldn't want to drift it. It's a city car. So because the Honda E is a relatively small car, they can't fit as many batteries as you'd get in a massive car like a Model S, which means the range is about 130 miles on a full charge, which I think is probably fine. The internet will hate it because 130 miles isn't far enough, but the average commute in Europe is 40 kilometers, and if you can charge it up at either end, it's going to work for you. This is for people who live in cities, not for people who are dreaming about doing the next big American road trip in an EV. It's fine, trust me. Now, Honda's usually about as good at building car interiors as I am at braiding my hair, but this is like no other Honda I've ever seen, or no other car that I've ever seen, to be honest. It's like a Zen temple with a bunch of TVs on it. You've got 6-inch screens for the door mirrors, you've got an 8.8-inch screen for the driver, and two 12-inch screens here for, well, I've currently got an aquarium set up to calm me down. But you can also have navigation on here, you can have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and it's all very high res and it's all very futuristic. And you can swap these two screens around like that. How cool is that? But that's not even the coolest feature of the infotainment system. Oh no. So as well as all the high-tech stuff, the Honda e also has a 240-volt plug socket and an HDMI input, which means if you're a massive geek like me, you can connect your Nintendo Switch to the car, and you can become the first person to ever play Doom on a car. Take that, imps, you bastards. I'm in my Honda E. Do you think Soichiro Honda would have approved? He was probably a bit of a circle-strafing god who liked fragging noobs on a weekend. One flaw with the Honda e is that you cannot see your health bar at the bottom of the screen in Doom, which is clearly, you know, a reason to not buy the car. Solid consumer advice, this. I should probably go and review the car and stop playing games. Sorry. So, has Honda absolutely slayed it with the new Honda e? Well, obviously it's not a rear-wheel drive sports car like the S2000, that was a joke. But it is a very good electric go-kart for the city. It's got a cutting-edge interior, it feels so nice to drive, and for 25 to 28 grand, it makes absolute sense as an urban commuter car. Would I recommend you get one? Yes. Yes, I would. Now I'm about to go because I'm about to get struck by lightning and killed to death. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.